Well, joining me now in the studio is Sebastian Balfour, Professor of Contemporary Spanish Studies at the London School of Economics. Thank you very much for coming in to speak to us. Can this referendum practically take place if you have the government in Madrid and the Spanish courts trying to block it?
Extremely difficult. If it's going to take place at all, it will be despite the efforts of the Spanish state. It would be extremely difficult because the Spanish state is now depriving the Catalan government of the funds to be able to carry this out, the funds to be able to purchase ballot boxes, the funds to be able to print off the ballot papers, and so on and so forth. It's very hard to envisage how this will take place. If it does, it will be partial, almost certainly, and one that will be disputed.
And non-binding, I suppose, the logistics around the vote will impact the legitimacy of the result, from what you're saying.
Yes, very much so. I mean, the Catalans have already held a non-binding consultation, and that was one in which a majority of those who voted favoured independence. The problem was that it was a very low turnout in the first place. And this may be the case now, except that the Catalan Parliament has ruled that if the vote is for independence, it doesn't matter what size the turnout was. So yes, there'll be, if it takes place at all, there'll be a huge dispute about the results.
How much support is there for independence? Because we're looking at pictures here where we see many people out, and we saw this same show of force on the National Day, a lot of patriotism. There seems to be, on the face of it, a great deal of support for independence.
There is, but there are also a lot of doubts about independence. I think, well, the polls have revealed this, that the vote would very much be split if everyone went to vote.
How divided would it be, roughly 50-50?
Well, we're talking actually about a difference of several percent. You know, opinion polls vary from month to month, but so far there has certainly not been a large majority in favour of independence. Far from it. The doubters perhaps are greater than those who are convinced. Although I should add that the movement for independence is very powerful and very rank and file, very popular-based movement, which extends throughout Catalonia.
And so why then are Catalonian authorities persisting with this? Of course, it is to do with culture and history and all of those historical things, but, I mean, are they also trying to use this to gain perhaps more control over their economic affairs as leverage with Madrid?
Certainly. I mean, what has happened is that a lot of the social and economic grievances of Catalans have been channeled through this narrative of national identity, national victimization. In other words, there's a lot more behind it than simply achieving independence. That I think is pretty clear, although the narrative is one that dominates, and the terms that are used, like liberty and so on, give the impression that Catalonia would be able to handle affairs much better if it were independent. There are huge problems about the nature of independence. First of all, the EU has made it pretty clear through Jean-Claude Juncker that it won't accept Catalonia. Catalonia would have to, if it were independent, would have to reapply to join the EU. And this is not something that is discussed much in Catalonia itself.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Professor Sebastian Balfour from the London School of Economics.
Thank you very much.